you have to invest money to play super competitive at this game. Now, before everybody starts hitting that dislike button and, being like, oh, that's not true, I win with X deck at this place, blah, 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 blah. Let me explain. There is a general consensus. Consensus? Did I say that right? Anyways, that when you go to an event, regional, YCS, ARG circuit, TCG player event, whatever kind of event you go to, there's going to be a best deck of a format. There always is. There's always like 1, 2, maybe even 3 decks of a format that you have a better chance of winning than let's say like a tier 2 or 3 deck. For example, right now, Burning Abyss, clear favorite of the best deck of the format, then followed by Cly's and Clyforts, whatever you want to call them, and then Shadal's after that. Clyfort and Shadal are kind of in the same category to me right now until next set comes out, but Burning Abyss is clearly the favorite. They've won event after event after event lately. But if you're not playing one of those 3 decks, chances are you're not going to succeed on a higher level than if you were playing that deck. Now, don't get me wrong, there is, an exception to every rule. You could go in there an event with Fire Fist or Boojins or Mermails, and do extremely well or even top, but the chances of you doing that on a consistent basis are slimmer than if you went in there with a Burning Abyss deck. Now, of course, you have to know how to play said decks. You have to, analyze the meta, analyze the situation. You could just go in there with Boojins and main 3 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors and play Burning Abyss and Shadalls all day and draw those Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors opening hand every game. And you can just get really lucky and, go undefeated. But there's a reason why that these top decks are topping. And yes, those are the most decks played, so that does factor in the consideration. But there's not really, anything crazy, you know what I mean, in like top tables. Like you never hear about, you'll hear like out of top 32 or top 64, you'll hear like a Yang Zing deck or 2, a Satella Knight or 2, anything like that, Mermails or whatever the case may be, they'll, be better than like a tier 5 deck or a tier 3 deck, but it doesn't mean that, you'll reach as far as you can. Now, there's some factors that go into this, such as, how good the player is, what kind of build they have, and everything like that. But just my understanding of this game for the couple of years that I've been back in, 2 years? Yeah, 2 years, 2.5 years that I've been back in this game, since way back when, in like 2005 or whatever it was, is you have to play basically the best decks to do extremely, extremely well, or have an easier time to do well in an event. Now, this does not count locals whatsoever, because, locals just look at locals, you know what I mean? You can go to a locals that has, top tier players that are just really good and, do extremely well with meta decks or non-meta decks. You could have a locals that just is full of players that don't know what they're doing or don't care or don't play competitively, and they're playing a bunch of non-meta decks, and you go in there with basically any deck and win. Now, that's kind of a false sense of entitlement, because I could go to my locals and basically play, I don't know, Crystal Beast, for example, and probably do well, extremely well. But I know if I took Crystal Beast to an event, chances are I wouldn't get the results I wanted. Now, don't misconstrue this as, you have to play so-and-so deck to win games or whatever. I'm just saying that you basically have a much easier time if you're playing top tier decks, if you invest money into this game, if you put the time and the effort into it. And I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have like the spell ground, the calculator case, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like, if you have the cards to win. You know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like you could be playing, you know, with like the nuts, and then your opponent is playing a meta deck, that he opens up the nuts, he or she, and literally, you know, you could open up the nuts in your deck, but it doesn't matter because their deck is just better. That's just a cold hard fact that some people have to get through, that, you know, some decks are just better. Doesn't mean you can't win with other decks. I'm just saying at a competitive level. And when it comes to that side of the game, chances are you need to spend money and you need to put the time and effort in to have any kind of success, if that's, you know, what you want to do. Now, some people are fine with just, you know, playing at locals, or, you know, playing non-meta decks and just having fun with it, which is cool. More props to you, but just my retrospective, you have to put money in this game of some kind to have more success than an average player. It's the cold hard truth. Now, you guys can disagree, agree with me, whatever the case may be. Leave comments down below. Let me know how you feel about it. And I know at least somebody's going to argue with me. And if I don't reply to your comment, my bad. You know, I do read them. Just sometimes I have a hard time getting back to them. So, thank you guys for watching. This is One Anti-Hero. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully soon.